Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so that potential buyers can learn more about the business and the seller to help them make an informed buying decision. If you would like to learn more about this business, including details like what type of business it is, how much revenue and profit it makes, and all of the assets included with the business, simply visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business's listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and in the description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. So without further ado, let's get into this interview. First up, let's learn a little bit about you. Can you tell us about your background in building and running online businesses?
The business was formed in 2017 after seeing a growing trend in retro gaming, which was considered very much a niche at the time. It is the first online business we have built, and it was initially started as a part-time job to supplement our income and morphed into something much bigger after 5 to 6 years. The business has gone through various stages of growth, initially starting as a UK-based eBay business and expanding to Amazon UK via FBM, then FBA, and then European marketplaces. A website was then built and added, and finally North American expansion in 2019 onto Amazon.com. The business has consistently had a reliable stream of income spread quite evenly between European and US marketplaces and continues to do so today.
Why are you selling the business now instead of keeping it and growing it further?
We are selling the business because me and my partner are ready for a change. We've been operating at the same office with the same staff since 2017 and feel that it's run its course basically. We have other business opportunities now, and we've already started the ball rolling on 2 new online business brands with a slightly different model. We also want to move house and relocate, which requires considerable more capital than available to us, with a lot of it already tied up within the company. It will be possible with some tweaking to continue the business with a more automated model, just generate cash flows. But after the new businesses we've started and the fact that we want to move house and relocate as well, we just don't have enough working capital or a big enough team to do both, and something's got to give. This is the only real reason we're selling, really, is we literally can't afford to manage it and do the other things that we want to do as well. Otherwise, it is a very good cash generating business due to the long-term consistency that it's had.
Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business to maintain it?
I approach the business from a top-down view and see what's happening with it and what needs to be done by both myself and others in more of a managerial type role. Typical day, I'll look at seller board, I'll see what daily, weekly and monthly sales are on Amazon. I then actually look directly on Amazon and see, what stock's active and what stock possibly needs sending into Amazon. I'm also checking to make sure that there's no issues on the account or any flags or anything I'm uncertain about. I'll speak to and check, emails received from our PPC VA and see how PPC is performing and if any sales have increased or decreased recently. I'll speak with other staff members in the office or on email and just assure that tasks are carried out and maintained. For example, after checking Amazon, I may see that we're low on stock of certain ASINs, and therefore I will check to assure that stock is being sent in respect of these ASINs. I'll also, check overall stock probably each week in respect of, 3PLs, any stock that's in Amazon or stock that's on order from the supplier. I'll possibly speak with our manufacturer or supplier and place any orders if need be, or check on how any outstanding orders are going. I'll email and receive emails from our European account in respect of any VAT, monthly or quarterly returns we might have in Europe, and ensure the VAT is paid and paid on time. And I'll do the same for the UK as well. I'll also make sure I'm on top of any EPR or WEE requirements that are now set in Europe. This basically, just makes sure that the business is compliant and we just don't get any issues on Amazon or on a company itself. The business probably requires a few hours per day to maintain. I'll also discuss future product developments and any improvements we may have for products with our supplier, just to make sure that the business continues to improve and stay, on top of things long term. We've actually made some groundwork, and I've already laid out some improvements on a couple of ASINs, with potentially a couple more ASINs, like new ones. And all this has already been done. So this should help the buyer achieve better profits over the next 12 to 24 months in respect of it. I'm happy to expand on them and discuss them further if a buyer's interested.
So if you were to keep this business, what are some of the ways you would try to grow it?
I will give you a few ideas in respect of trying to grow the business and expand on each of them. Firstly, I will try to improve some of the current ASINs we have and take some market share away from other sellers. It may be possible to improve the margin on some of our products, and yet you should, as Amazon sellers, always continue to look to squeeze the most profits out of your products. Now, we've already laid some groundwork for this for the new buyer to take over, because we spent the last few months reducing the size and weights of our packaging by up to a third on some products and up to half on some other products. We've done this on about 50% of our catalogue. This should therefore reduce FBA fees considerably and create, a higher ROI on these particular ASINs. Therefore, this should actually result in better profits for the buyer off the bat without actually having to do, any further sort of research toward trying to increase profits. So, we've already laid that out for a new buyer, so that should really help them. And I'm happy to discuss that in more detail and get into the specifics of it. There's also 4 ASINs outstanding that have product improvements already in the works. So what I mean is that, we launch a product and we sell it on Amazon and our other platforms, and we get reviews and questions from buyers. We also get product returns, as you would with any product you sell online. So these returns from customers and the emails we get from them, it gives us a picture of what we may or may not be doing right with the product, or highlight, a potential problem with the product, or it may not be up to scratch, or just may not be as good as maybe a competitor's product. And, we look at these and we think, what can we do to try to improve these? And we relay, this information relay it onto a manufacturer and try and get them improved. So right now, we've got 4 ASINs that should all receive a jump in sales because we've improved the product and made it, a much better quality product without really increasing the product cost. So, for example, one of the products, we actually expect the cost of goods to go down as our manufacturers completely rebuilt it from scratch using a completely different source. So that should really help the profitability of the business just by fixing these 4 ASINs alone. And again, the hard work has already been done on that, and I can discuss that in more detail and get into the specifics of it when someone's interested to know more about the business. Another way to improve the business would be to release 2 or 3 more ASINs, new ones, add them to the catalogue. Try and do this over the next 6 to 12 months or 18 months, 2 years, whatever. We already have one product that is in development now, and it's been in long-term development, so that would probably only require another 1 or 2 products to get added to your catalogue to make it potentially more profitable. Our manufacturer already has some products which could be profitable that we've not really looked or explored or approached yet, simply because we don't want to be taking anything on like that right now whilst we're in the process of selling the business. So that gives you something to explore straight away. Finally, I'd look at trying to generate more traffic and links to Amazon or the website via, PPC, blog building or affiliate techniques to possibly increase sales. That's not something we've really done or looked at, over the last few years running the business. However, what I'd probably, think is quite low hanging fruit is just to continually tweak PPC, maintain stock levels at all times, and just stay on top of the listing and reviews. And that'll probably just give you the biggest boost on Amazon. I'll be honest, there's been many times that we've run out of stock over the last 3 years on certain ASINs and just didn't fully capitalize on the sales. This is partly due to cash flow and also partly due to just bad management on our side, not predicting shipping in time, not ordering enough when it's come to manufacturing, having stock in the wrong place. So, for example, we've got more stock of something in the UK or Europe and we needed more of it in the US, just not ordering enough from the manufacturer, or maybe just not even sending it into Amazon on time. So yeah, this is something more experienced buyer with a team or someone who knows what they're doing could easily mitigate and improve this. And obviously when things are in stock more and you're consistently in stock and you don't get stock outs, you sell more, and it just improves your ranking for your products over time. So this is something that we've not done very optimally. You can check into the business and the stats and it will show this. I mean, if you look at our sales, you'll see where we've had down months where it's, if you actually look into the individual data, it's because we've just not had something in stock. So this is definitely a way that a buyer could increase the profits quite easily, and is what I'd consider low-hanging fruit.
Right. And what would you say are the biggest risks with this business that buyers should be aware of?
I'll list some possible risks with the business that does stand out to me right now. So I would say competition from other sellers, of course. There is a lot of competition and it can create a little bit of a race to the bottom. So just be aware of the sellers. I have seen a slight increase in sellers over the last few years from these types of products. But I just think that's the nature of Amazon, and they just don't have the sort of the brand image and the history and the account profile and reviews and ASIN catalog that we have. However, competition is still something to be aware of. I would also say not staying on top of customer service, as we currently have a good reputation in respect of this. So we've always provided, an honest, fast and efficient customer service. We've done this ourselves in-house and then went through various different VAs until we found a good one that we was able to work with. His name's Julian. So Julian has built a really good SOP and FAQ in respect of questions that commonly get asked from buyers. And if there is something he's ever unsure of, which is not a lot nowadays, but if there is, then he'll refer it back to us, to Adam, and he'll deal with it. We've always put and displayed our phone number on our website. Not that it gets called very often. We're talking probably a couple of calls a week. And that's normally just to check if something's going to go in stock or if something's been sent out. However, it does help build transparency and trust. So yeah, just staying on top of customer service. I think that'd be a shame if those standards fell if a new buyer was to take over. Another potential risk would be issues with our electronics when shipping to the US due to trade wars between China and the US. So obviously electronics are made in China, which is a majority of them, let's face it, have had issues in terms of sort of trade wars between China and the US. It doesn't really affect Europe or the UK. So yeah, that's something to look at and just keep an eye on, potential levies. Could there be further developments with that going forward? Obviously, I don't think there'll ever be an outright ban or anything like that, because I think it'd be, without getting into politics and geopolitics, it's just not going to happen, because this point relies too much on Chinese tech. So, that's decades away if anything was to ever change with that. But yeah, just something to be aware of. It is an electronics brand and business, and they are manufactured in China, as 99% of all the other electronics that are sold online and on Amazon. So yeah, just something though, to be honest, and to be aware about. Another risk I would say is just changing and messing with the pricing too much. So you tend to get these sellers on Amazon that, are just selling sort of other third-party branded goods, same ones that everyone's selling, and they tend to be a bit of a race to the bottom. And then you get the odd sellers that are just selling things too expensive and just not really generating any sales or any profit, but, not needing to have lots and lots of stock either. And I would say that our brand and our business fits somewhere in the middle. So the prices are not low by any means, but they're not too high to stop sort of one-off and just quick purchases where a buyer not thought too much about it. I think if you were to increase a product too much and try to build too much of a premium brand, which I just don't think works too easily in electronics, unless you're building something really, really unique where you don't really have a lot of competition, I think that could potentially be a risk to your business. It could really drop your sales if you just try to, say for instance, somebody brought his business and then the first thing they did was just increase prices, or had a view to increase prices considerably over the next 3 to 6 months. I think that would be a risk. I think that I'd end up backfiring on them. I think what's better is to just be consistent, to keep stock in place, try to improve the products and improve margin on the products slightly, and just maintain the prices. And I think your sales will probably increase and your margin will go up doing this. So I think that'd be a better strategy. And then last risk I would say is just wasting too much money on PPC and advertising. You can blow a whole load of money on PPC unnecessarily. I don't think it's needed too much. I think there's only so much traffic out there for these types of products. It's not like you're selling phone cases or supplements when you're looking at longer strategies with PPC in terms of not really making even profit off your first sale, and you're more looking at customer acquisition and repeat business and trying to build like long-term customers, and you're playing out a long strategy there for advertising. I just don't think you need to. I think what's better is having some PPC, staying on top of it, not spending too much, and just trying to build your organic sales and your overall ranking position for each product, and just keeping an eye on that. And that's what we've tried to do, and that's why we have sort of ACOS targets to hit, and we always try to stay under them. Obviously, a buyer's going to do whatever PPC strategy they may know. They won't be able to do things much better than us. But yeah, I've just noticed that, PPCs are so easy to blow money now on, and there's a hell of a lot of companies out there and all types of weird and wonderful PPC solutions and tools. But at the end of the day, there's so many buyers searching for these particular keywords. So if you can hit them organically, you're going to save a hell of a lot of money. So yeah, wasting money on PPC, I think, would be the last risk for a potential buyer of the business that I can think of right now.
How much support are you willing to offer the buyer who acquires this business?
I'm happy to offer support to a buyer, and I actually wouldn't expect a new buyer to acquire the business without any type of initial support, especially during the handover process. So, I can be sure to have phone calls or video calls during the transitional phase as we move the business over from ourselves to the new buyer. I'm happy for the buyer to email me when needed during the first few months, I'd say, and, send a message or a voice note or something on WhatsApp as another option if they're unsure of anything or just want a quick question answered. Now, what I will say as well is that Adam, our office manager, he's open to having a conversation about staying on for a limited amount of hours per week to assist with the handover and any technical issues with the business, and give advice for a fixed period of agreed time. So I don't know, let's just say 3 months or 6 months. This could be potentially a paid position or not, just depending on how much support the new buyer thinks he may or may not need. I'd also say as well, both VAs that we employ are aware the business is for sale and would stay on if required. I would say in respect of VAs, I'm sure, most buyers have probably got a PPC VA or someone who deals with PPC within their team, or maybe they deal with it themselves. But Julian, our customer service VA, I highly recommend that he stays on and transitions with the business onto the new owner's team. I'd say that because, one, he's low cost operating out of the Philippines, and two, he knows the answers to a lot of technical questions now, which is probably one of the hardest things to deal with in this business as it's electronics. So you can get a troubleshooting and questions from time to time. And of course, it takes time to get a level of understanding and knowledge to be able to learn and diagnose these problems. Julian's probably seen them before for the amount of time that he's been working within the business for. And you do get questions and concerns from customers or issues they may have when it comes to electronics, because it's just the nature of electronics. You're always going to get troubleshooting issues. Now, a new buyer could take an approach and say, hey, we don't provide customer service or support for technical queries. Now, I think that would be a loss to the business because, as I said in a previous answer to a question, we've built quite a good reputation up of being able to help customers and help and assist them. So you could take that approach and it'd probably save you a bit of money. Well, I don't know if it would affect your business long term. I mean, I would definitely say that it would, increase your return rate slightly. So yeah, I would just say, yeah, it makes sense for Julian to stay on just because he's low cost and he's been doing it for a while. He's built up a decent FAQ anyway. So if you do have someone you think is competent to deal with customer service, then obviously there's an FAQ there with, many, many questions that frequently get asked from buyers about different ASINs and products we sell. So, yeah, that's what I'd say. Either way, look, at the end of the day, nothing's set in stone. So, for the right price, we're happy to have a discussion about support and a support package or, some form of support. And, we just want to make sure the buyer is supported as best as possible. So, for a successful after taking the business on.
Got it. And regarding the sale of the business, would you agree to a non-compete?
I can confirm that we commit to the non-compete.
Are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out agreement?
Not really looking for an earn-out payment structure unless it was the right deal that made complete sense for us. As previously answered and explained in a question before, we're purely selling the business for capital now so that we can buy a new house and we can relocate and still have some leftover cash to build to the 2 new registered brands we've already set up and started. If we were to take an earn-out deal, we're limiting the amount of upfront cash, and that would actually delay the actual objectives we're trying to achieve here by selling in the first place. So again, it's not a hard no, but it would have to be the right deal that made complete sense from our point of view.
Okay, final question. If you had to put yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why is your business a business worth buying?
This is a great business for a buyer, in my opinion, and I'll try to summarize some points as to why as follows. So firstly, the business has consistently sold products on Amazon for a number of years now, and has a good track record and history of sales without any noticeable and unexplainable peaks or troughs within the sales on the Amazon or outside of the Amazon platform. So these sales are spread out quite evenly between UK, DE and USA, and I believe this slightly de-risks the business. So although it is potentially more to manage these marketplaces as there's more of them, it also means that your risk is mitigated more because, you're not putting all your sales on one basket and relying too much on one particular marketplace. So should something happen on that marketplace, something goes wrong, new sellers come on board and take sales off you, something happens with a stock out or a product or whatever it is, if you spread evenly between 3 marketplaces instead of one, I just think that does de-risk you slightly. Now, another thing to add is that the business also has, I think, between 15 and 20% of its sales are generated from eBay and the website. So it's a smaller number, but it's probably not of interest to a new buyer because these platforms are a bit more costly and timely to manage. However, it shows that our products that we sell in our brand can generate sales, outside of the Amazon platform. And, I believe that therefore that it shows a genuine interest really from buyers and the demand for our products, as opposed to just having, a highly optimized listing that you might have on Amazon and you sell just off the back of the keywords that are on that listing and on that product, and these could decrease at any time. If a buyer understands Amazon, they'll know what I mean when I say that. And this leads me to my next point, really, which is the brand itself. It is a recognizable brand. It probably is one of the biggest brands within the retro space. It's got a recognizable brand image and, brand colors and color scheme, and it's got a catalog of products that support most of the adopted and used products within its sector. Therefore, when launching a new product, it's quite easy to generate demand because existing buyers buy from us again. Now, I'm not sure from the top of my head how this can be checked on Amazon, but I've just had a quick check through some emails from PayPal, for example, which is our default checkout provider for our website. And between 10 to 15% are returning customers. This means that, customers like our brand, they return and buy other products from our catalogue as well. Now, considering our SKU list is quite small, again, from the top end, probably 20 or less, and we also sell non-consumable products, so, you don't buy the same product a second time. I don't think this is a bad statistic at all. We've also got an extensive email list, so launching a product is not that difficult. You can launch a product at a discounted price or offer a coupon or something for it, and you can share the product link to the listing, whether it's on Amazon or website, upon the launch. Now, we've got a list easily separated between website customers and the various Amazon country geared marketplaces. So the list is all separated. So it's very easy to send an email blast out to each marketplace and our website customers when you launch a new product. Now, with all of this in mind, it gives a new buyer and direction to go in. So, one possible direction, which would be, I'd say an ambitious but also potentially lucrative direction, is to, transition from sort of a retro company into more of a modern gaming company. Now, it's highly likely that anyone who still plays retro games is, probably going to play modern games as well. Not everyone, but I'd say there's a larger percentage. I'd say it's a majority. Therefore, a buyer with a decent amount of capital and ambition could easily work with someone on their team to develop new products, with potentially new factories or suppliers to brand existing modern gaming products. So, I'll just off the top of my head, if you think, gaming chairs, controllers, cables, headphones, or even create their own unique branded product. But, better, more work and research required with doing it. That's going to have a higher failure rate, but, got a much chance of creating something more unique and getting more of a market share and getting, a better ROI doing that. So, that's one possible direction. I think that transition from retro gaming to gaming is quite easy because that customer base and that brand that we've got and that we've established and built up is easier transferable from one to the other. And obviously gaming, modern gaming market is going to be 100 times bigger than the retro market, or probably even more. You'd have to run some stats on that, but, that's just obvious. Another direction to go, which is completely opposite really, would be to just milk the business for its cash flow and run it, potentially, a lot less stress, very stress-free. So if a business wasn't to sell, this is probably the direction we'd go in, considering what else we want to do now going forward. So how I would consider doing this is I'd close eBay down. I'd change the website to only list Amazon products. So the products are listed on the website, but so it gives the website its history and its branding. The products just go to links on Amazon. Maybe hire an SEO blogger and set aside a small amount of money, let's say $500 or $1,000 a month to write and publish blog posts on the website to drive traffic to the website. And then obviously the website, if people click the products, they're going to go over to Amazon. And I do this simply because the website's got a good presence. It's been out there for so long. It's been a company's website, so products on there. But if you remove a catalog and don't actually have a shopping cart on the site, then it's going to use traffic naturally because you're no longer going to be able to buy products on there without that shopping cart. I think having a blog will just compensate some of that and help generate some more traffic to Amazon. And then if you do get referrals from your website onto Amazon, then you're getting that sort of additional ranking juice you get from sending outside traffic onto Amazon. Or you could even offer a hybrid of two where you can use Amazon's new sort of inventory services where you store stock in Amazon FBA and they fulfill in unbranded packaging, to a Shopify or a WooCommerce site. So you could have the website as it is and buyers don't even know the goods are going to get dispatched by Amazon. You might have to adjust pricing, but that's something you could look at. So you could do a hybrid of the two. Have then spent some money with a supplier and probably stick, 6 months worth of stock. So the business is fully stocked and just run it as an Amazon only business. Hire a full-time VA in the Philippines to manage the Amazon account. Thus saving you some wages. Obviously, we're paying a UK wage to one of our employees. That adds up to be quite a lot. You could probably hire someone in the Philippines for a third of the price who'd do just a good job, and they would be able to manage just sending in basically stock from the 3PL into Amazon. So they just deal with that, just keep reloading Amazon. That's one of the main jobs. I just spend time on the Amazon account, liaise with the PPC VA as well to make sure PPC is running in the right way. And they could just deal with running the Amazon account. They could also generate you some profit reports. So you could be quite hands-off on the business and just stick to the financial side of it, which would be, just managing the cash flow and paying your wages and taxes each month. I think you could get it to a point where you're running a pure Amazon business with very little effort, with just a few tweaks to the team. As I said, if we had enough capital and we weren't looking to do some of the things we were looking to do, I'd consider adjusting the team and finding someone in the Philippines to manage that for you or wherever, elsewhere, and, reduce you some monthly costs and just basically just run it as a pure Amazon business. I think, the business is worth buying as, there's various options in front of you when, buying this business, and it gives a buyer, potentially different directions to go in. As a brand is established and it's got presence, it's got a catalogue in sort of a wide area, it's got listing history. A lot of listings have been established for a while now. There's repeat business. It just means that PPC and keyword management is not as important as with a lot of other Amazon businesses, and there's more of a long-term viable business here, we believe. So I'm happy to discuss any more of these strategies and things I've discussed here with a new buyer and get in more detail. So yeah, that's why I think the business is worth buying.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this business is still for sale, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business listing number, which you can find in the video thumbnail and description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll find everything you need to know about this business. So, thanks for joining us. See you next time.